Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me today. We are going to be painting a very simple Impressionist style floral vase. I'll be showing you step by step all the way through it, how to create it. It should be an easy beginner project, about an hour long. So let's get started. Okay, so this is my example here. I should say we're doing this live today. So I've got my husband Mark with me.
Hey there, everybody.
He is manning the chat, so if you've got questions for me during the show, you can post those. This is the second in a series. So this was the first one that we did on Tuesday night. And this is our second one, and it's in coordinating colors, the same colors. We've just added a extra color. We've got added Quinacridone Magenta to the palette for this one, so they're coordinating, but not quite exactly the same. A little bit different kind of flower structures too. And if you want to see a third one, leave a comment. So after the show, we're thinking about doing another one on Tuesday nights, this next Tuesday night. So if you want to see that, be sure to leave me a comment so you can let me know. And if I get enough yeses, then I will do a third one. I don't want to overwhelm people who don't like flowers, but of course I'm having a ball doing these. These are so fun and easy, and they're great for summer, very summery type project.
And practicing your flower strokes and stuff like that.
Exactly, yeah. So. Practicing brush strokes, and brush strokes is the theme, the challenge of the month in my Patreon group on Facebook. So this fits in with that. All right, I've kept my paints in a plastic baggie with the plate on top to kind of protect them, and they'll stay good in a plastic bag for about a week that way. So if you've got extra paints left over on your palette, that's why I use foam plates, or like coated paper plates. Don't ever use like a paper plate that's not coated with wax or something, because it will soak right all the moisture out of your paint. So,
and don't use your fine china either.
Probably not.
No, not grandma's dishes or anything.
No, I wouldn't use grandma's dishes for.
Okay, all right.
No. Yeah. Got just a few brushes that we'll be using today. Kind of a medium to large flat Filbert brush. That just means it's rounded tip. But you could use a flat brush instead if you don't have one of these. This is a little bit smaller flat. It's about a 1/2 inch. It's about a 1/4 inch, and possibly an angle brush. This 1/4 inch angle, and then like a small round brush of some sort. So that's be our basic brushes that we'll be using. You also need some chalk, and I'm going to set this up out of the way.
Where could they get those brushes?
There's a link down in the description for the brushes and all the paints that I'm using. So if you want to know what colors, just click the show more under the video, and it'll drop down all the information. It's got my social media and all that good stuff down there too. So, and be sure to use the Angela Fine Art code on if you order from the Brush Guys, because you get 5% off. All right, so I've got chalk here. I've got a 8x10 inch gesso board. It's an MDF board, but you can use canvas or whatever you've got. You can use a larger size. Just scale it up. So I'm going to start about halfway. So whatever size canvas you are, just use about the halfway mark and mark out your vase. I'm already losing my voice this morning. 2 lines for the bottom of our vase. This one's going to be kind of square, and just try to make them parallel to the edge of the canvas there. And then I'm going to mark out my large flowers. So I'm just going to kind of do some circles for where I want those big flowers to go. Maybe one there, maybe one up a little bit higher. And I did not find like a reference image to use for this. I don't have a reference to show you while we're painting, but I just kind of use my imagination, sort of space these out. There we go, something like that. And then I put another one over there. Oh, you're supposed to follow the rule of thirds, but actually...
Do you want the picture up in the corner?
Yeah, go ahead and put that picture up there. I think this one's a little bit more toward the center there. All right, that'll do good. And then we'll need some room for some white flowers there and there. Some pink flowers are going to kind of fill in right here. There's going to be kind of a spiky flower right there. Another spiky one over here, some pink, some white filler, more pink down here, more spiky, and that'll be good. That's about all I do. I'm really not going to get too caught up on drawing on this one. We're just going to kind of paint and enjoy the process as much as we can. Don't stress out too much.
We got some.
The nice thing about these is very expressionist paintings, so you can kind of just get into it and let it develop as you paint.
We got some questions here.
Okay.
Somebody want to know, could they use pencil instead of chalk?
You could, yeah. Pencil tends to bleed through when you paint over it, so I would use like a watercolor pencil, something water soluble if you have it, instead of lead pencil. If you do use lead pencil, just kind of erase most of it off so that you don't have really hard lines, because those can show up. Although with this kind of painting, I don't think I would be that concerned about it showing, because it would kind of just be part of the charm. So, all right, so I've added a little bit of my Indian yellow to purple. This is the same color background that I used for our original last week. So it's kind of a muted purple color. Add some white to it to soften it up.
Got another question when you got time.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody wanted to know, do the gesso boards absorb paint the same way canvases do?
They don't. The paint doesn't go down in it like canvas boards or canvas. So it does react a little bit differently. It's a little bit smoother too, so it's a little bit easier for blending and things like that. I just like them because they're cheap. I get them in a multi-pack, and they, I don't know, they're a little bit less flexible, so when I'm, painting, especially for these kind of shows, they're easy to stack and store because they're so thin. So that's my main reason for using them. And I was using canvas panels too, but I find that these are a little bit better quality and about the same price as the canvas panel. So adding just a little bit more white in some parts just as I paint this on, just to kind of give it a little bit of interest. Maybe do some in this direction and some in this direction so that it's got some interesting brush strokes going on in this background area. And just get it on there. I'm going to go ahead and go over all the way up to my white parts here. I'm not going to go all the way inside my bouquet, but I do want to make sure that all of that area around my flowers is covered. So just go ahead and cover that all up. As I get around the corner here, I might add a little bit of my Cobalt Blue to it. Do a little bit of blue on this side. That's pretty. A little bit darker purple. We're just playing with colors here. You could do a totally different color background if you wanted something a little bit different. Adding a little bit more yellow here so that it's a little bit more neutral. It's getting very purplish. I don't want it to be completely purple. I want it to be more of a neutral gray almost color. So there we go. Just do this quickly. Add a little bit of water if your paint's starting to get dry. Your brush is starting to get dry. Mine was. You can tell your brush is getting dry when you start getting these skipping brush strokes. So when your paint's not flowing onto the canvas and it's just kind of skipping on the top, then you just need to add a little bit of water to get it to flow a little bit better. Add some of that darker color down in here too. Grab some Phthalo Blue. Put some Phthalo Blue back here. This is the green shade. There we go. Just a few little streaks of it. Okay, let me grab a little bit more of that dark purple. Mix that in. Oops, didn't really want any white with that, sorry. Keep it pretty dark. And let's add some of the Quinacridone Magenta. It's more that Phthalo Blue. Make a really dark purpley burgundy color. Here we go. And then if we want to neutralize it a little bit, we can add a little bit of green. That'll just keep it from looking like a circus purple. A little bit more of a mature type of purple. It's not so party crazy, you know, just settle down. We don't want to get too crazy in here.
The purple without the mullet.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, I'm going to add this color in and around my yellow and maybe pull it out into the thing. This is still wet, so I can kind of just lightly tap in some of this color and it'll sort of just blend slightly into what's going on in that background. I'm just barely touching, and I don't have a lot of paint on my brush, so the more I press down, the more paint's going to come off. But if I barely tap it, it's going to just kind of create these little brush strokes, and I'm churning so that I'm not repeating the pattern. So I have one there, and then I'll turn it and do another one. Each time I'm kind of slightly twisting my brush as I'm painting so that a different part of it is touching the canvas and I'm getting a different size and shaped brush stroke there. So basic purple, I need to put that thing under there again. The shine is my nemesis. There we go. Better at least. Okay. Let's grab some green. I'm gonna grab both greens. The Phthalo Green. Oh, I didn't go over my palette. Sorry. Let me do that really quick. Titanium white, yellow oxide, Indian yellow hue. If you don't have that, use an orange of some sort. Cad yellow medium, cad yellow light, brilliant yellow green, I think. I don't know. That's a pre-mixed color. So it's the cad yellow light plus some phthalo green here. This is light green permanent, phthalo green yellow shade, teal, cobalt blue, phthalo blue green shade, ultramarine blue and light ultramarine blue. It's just ultramarine blue plus white, Dioxazine purple, and Quinacridone Magenta. So those are our basic colors. If you don't have one of these colors, don't freak out. Just kind of use whatever's closest. Yellows, greens, blues, like a green blue and a purpley blue, and purple and some sort of a light pink of some sort. So you don't have to have the exact same colors that I have to get similar results. You just kind of use what you've got. But by all means, if you need to buy the color, go for it. I understand that need. I always has to have the colors. So I'm going to just tap in some of this green here in between there. Just give it a little bit. We're not going really defining anything yet. Just kind of laying in some soft brush strokes right now. Let's go ahead and put in our vase. So I'm going to grab some of the white and let's use that Phthalo Blue. And we've got all kinds of different colors on my brush, so I'm just going to let that happen and press down a little bit harder. I might get some of that green to come off. Try to get that fairly straight. If I use the edge of my brush, I can kind of draw a line a little bit easier. Or I can pull in from the side this way to get a straight line. Whatever works. Add a little bit more white. Do some light streaks, and this I'm not pushing down very hard so that it's just going to kind of skim on top and blend a little bit. Create some streaks in that paint. We'll let that dry and we'll add some more colors to it later, but that'll be good enough for now. I say that and then I start messing with it. Okay, good enough. Let's add a little bit of this color up here too. Maybe add some little round dots.
Have you heard of Paris blue?
No, that's not it's probably a specific brand blue.
Okay, because somebody wants to know if it would be a replacement for Phthalo Blue, but
Yeah, it's probably a certain whatever brand they're using. Each brand has their own colors that they kind of come up with their own names for. So it's probably not a standard blue color. It's probably a mixed blue of some sort, if that makes sense. So Phthalo Blue would be the same in every brand, fairly close, because it's kind of a chemical composition. So they're going to have the same sort of properties, same basic colors. Most of the time, they might be a little bit off, but for the most part, they should be identical, brand to brand. So if it doesn't have the name that I'm using, then it probably means it's a mixed color of some sort that that brand comes up with.
According to Merriam-Webster, it is an iron blue pigment similar to Prussian blue.
Prussian blue, okay.
So
which is in the same color family as the Phthalo Blue,
Blue,
because Prussian blue's got that blue-green color. It's a little bit more on the green side, so that would work probably.
But not Cad Blue.
Not Cad Blue. That's your own. That's your color.
That's my made-up color?
Right, that's your made-up color.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to switch brushes now. Get a little bit smaller brush so we can get some more detail in. I'm going to use a Filbert. And somebody was saying that they were having trouble with the brush strokes that I was using. So really quick, while that's drying, I'm going to set that aside for a second. And I'm going to grab my worksheet, and we'll just work out a few brush strokes. So I'm going to grab the purple since it's already on my palette here. And spray that so that it doesn't get dried out while I'm working. All right, so there's a few different brush strokes I'm using, and I'm holding my brush fairly loosely, and you don't want to have really super tight control of the brush when you're doing these kind of loose brush strokes. So kind of hold it back from the ferrule just a little bit. This is the ferrule. Hold it back from the ferrule just a little bit and keep it fairly loose. And you're going to want to have it so that you can roll with your thumb a little bit. So kind of lay it in between these top two fingers, and then you're going to roll up on your pointer finger a little bit from time to time and roll back down onto this. So just kind of nestle it right in there. And this is how I do it. Now, you can do it however you're comfortable holding your brush, but this is how I do it. So there's some different brush strokes we're going to be doing. For the leaves, we're going to be kind of setting our brush down with the flat part down and turning it a little bit like that. So I'm just kind of setting it down flat and turning it 1/2 turn sort of as I'm pulling. So these are not... I'm doing it fairly quickly, so I'm not really consciously like turning my brush, but you'll be seeing me do that. So you might want to practice that is one of the brush strokes, just kind of setting it down and turning it, and then try practicing doing that as you're pulling it around the sides of your leaf. Right. Also, some of them are going to be just using the edge of my brush to do lines and things. So press your brush nice and flat and then kind of use it to draw out lines. You can get them fairly thin if you just barely touch the canvas. Then some of them I'm going to be doing kind of more flat. So for the little rounded ones, I would set my brush down and kind of twist it a little bit so that I'm getting like a rounded edge there. I can get like almost a perfect dot by sort of doing 3 in a row. Setting it down, kind of turning it a half moon almost, turning it over and doing like that. Makes sense? These aren't perfect shapes, and I don't want you to feel like you have to do perfect shapes for these to get it right, because this is we want to keep it loose anyway. So for some of the smaller smaller flowers, I'm just going to kind of be pulling in from the outside in, using that rounded edge of the brush. So I'm always turning it so that it's kind of facing in and doing like that. But if you notice, I'm really not defining these shapes very well. So most of the time what I'm going to be doing is just kind of doing like this, dabbing it. And sort of, because your flowers aren't going to always be perfectly facing you like this. So sometimes you're going to see sides of them. You're going to see different parts of them. You're not going to have like a fully formed flower facing you. So I tend to just kind of do little dots and turn my brush a little bit each time I set it down. And if you're not getting really pretty brush strokes, you can always try switching to another brush. So I'll show you what it looks like if I've got if I've got my long flat brush, so I would get different kind of flowers from that, right? I've got little more square edged flowers, so if I was worried about the edges being more rounded, I could kind of pull in little circular motion as I set it down. Okay. Some of the cone flowers, I'm going to be doing little dots, so I'll use the corner of my brush to do those. And just depending on how hard I press down, I'll get different shaped little dots, and I can turn it so that the brush is kind of facing a little bit in different directions. But the harder I press down, the bigger my dots are going to be. So kind of usually I'm going to be doing larger dots toward the base, and then as I get toward the tip of these smaller flowers, I'm going to be just barely touching the very tip of the brush to get little teeny tiny dots like that. Let me think. Oh, and then there's another one where we're doing more controlled brush strokes. So I just use the edge of my brush, and I'm rolling my brush a little bit as I draw that line so that it's always facing flat. If I didn't roll it, I would get more like that of a line, because it might start out straight, and then as I pulled it down, it would get thicker because my brush face is turned that way. So if you're having trouble controlling your brush and you can't get your line to stay thin all the way around, just use a smaller like liner brush or something like that, a small round brush, and you'll get a better line. So you don't have to use the same brush that I'm using if you're having trouble controlling these lines and getting them too thick. Just use a liner brush. But for the leaves, for this part, I'm just setting my brush down and pulling towards that center. And I'm really just lifting, I'm sitting it down, kind of pausing for a second for the bristles to kind of spread out. Press down nice and hard so that they spread out, and then lift almost immediately as you pull it toward the center. Spread, lift. That one got a little bit big, but you get the idea. Okay. All right, so I'm going to keep moving here because I'm going to run out of time. I got to get moving. So that hopefully helped, maybe. We'll see. All right, let me grab the light green, a little bit of white. I'm going to put some light green underneath my white flowers. So they're going to go like there and right in here. And then there's going to be some white ones down here.
We got a couple of questions in chat wondering what color nail polish you have.
Oh, look at what I've done to it already. I don't remember. I'll have to look it up. And I don't have it here.
Oh.
It's in the bathroom because I packed it.
Okay. Sorry, everybody. We'll make up a color.
Some sort of a mauve color. All right, let's do a few leaves. This is the light green permanent. These leaves, I'm just setting it down and kind of pulling. I've got it set on its angle. And I'm just going to pull a few leaves that way. Let's grab some of the Phthalo Blue and Phthalo Green. Make a turquoise. And we'll do some large leaves with the turquoise up in this dark corner. Put some in behind some of these. Okay. Oops, lost my thumbnail. There we go. All right, let's clean that out really well. And put in the color behind our large flowers. So it's going to be kind of a magenta and orange, so a tiny bit of the purple to darken it up. There we go. A little bit more magenta. Just going to lay a little bit of that down for the center of those flowers. We want a little bit of darkness underneath there. And then I'm going to add some white. And let's grab some cadmium yellow. Medium, add that to it. Create kind of a orange, pink, salmon color. There we go. And we'll add a little bit of that color. Around the outside here. And we're going to have just a little bit of this shown. We're going to do lighter layers on top, but this will be kind of our base tone to the flowers. And as I'm going around here, you notice I'm really just kind of changing the direction of my brush strokes, kind of going in a general circular motion. So sometimes I'm doing flat brush strokes and sometimes I'm turning it on its side. You just kind of, the main thing you really want to work on with these kinds of flowers, these really impressionist, simplified flowers, is not to repeat your brush strokes. So make sure that you're really intentionally changing the brush strokes, because once you get comfortable doing a certain brush stroke, you're gonna be like, oh, I like that one, and just do it. And then you end up with a flower that's got the same exact kind of size, petals all the way around, and it looks a little bit unnatural. So I feel like I want one down here too, just like a little nub. Give it a little. Okay, I'm going to grab that dark color and put some of that back in there. There we go. Just mainly trying to kind of cover up my white bits now. Get all of that kind of covered up and ready for the lighter colors to go on top. If you don't have enough dark underneath, you just won't have enough contrast and it'll look flat. So we're just kind of trying to work on our contrast. Let's grab some of that Quinacridone Magenta. And add a tiny bit of purple to it. So we're making kind of a violet color.
You could almost stop right there.
Yeah, I mean, it's really pretty just the way it is. Honestly, I do. I like it. Add a little tiny bit of white here. And we're going to tap in some of this color and just do some random small brush strokes. It's fairly similar to our background color, so if it's not showing up against that, that's probably normal. There we go. Just do like 3 different little places there. Okay. And then let's grab some of the Quinacridone, a little bit of yellow. You can even use that purple color there. We want a little bit more different tone on it. So just add a little bit of yellow to give it a little different tone. Needs more magenta. And I have to say, if you want to make these a little bit more coordinated even, you could add a little bit of the magenta here and there just in a couple places, just to kind of give it a little, I'm just going to do a couple little dots, just to give it a little bump of extra color. So just a few little dots and it'll look a little bit more coordinated. I'm going to take those off since they're not in our original plan, but just to show you how that would look. Add a little bit of the, there we go, a little bit of the yellow oxide with that Quinacridone Magenta. That makes kind of a soft watermelon color. Not going to worry too much about the green or any of that other stuff that's going on underneath, because that's all going to be kind of layers upon layers. We'll see parts of it underneath, and that'll be good. Okay, maybe a little bit right in here. Just small tapping brush strokes. Okay, clean that out. And really, I could have moved to a smaller brush for those if I wanted a little bit more control. I'll grab some white now. Right over here. And let's add our white flowers in here. In here, we're just going to kind of change the direction. We've got that green underneath there, so leave a little bit of it showing through in between our flowers. Don't get too matchy-matchy with your petals, right? It's a tendency. And that's fine if you want that look. This is a more you know, impressionist look, so we're going to have different, less formal, less perfected petals in mine. But if you want it to be a little bit cleaner, that's your prerogative. Do it. Do what makes you happy. If it's going to stress you out to have it a little bit messy like this, then clean it up by all means. I find that having a few of them like kind of randomly spaced off in by themselves kind of helps too. Kind of just breaks up that outline. It doesn't look so perfectly clean. Oops, wrong place. That's all right. Look for that light green. That's where we're putting these. Okay. Good. Then we can throw a couple of them in between here. Just in a couple spots. Maybe one up here. There we go. They're going to look really bright at first because we don't have any other bright colors going on right now. So, but just kind of trust it'll all kind of happen. Okay, so I'm going to grab more white, or more of that white, and then I'm going to grab some of our color that was over here that we did the base of the flowers here, and these are pretty much dry now. So I'm going to mix a very light peach color for these, and now we're going to start putting in some of these brush strokes. And the centers will kind of have almost a square or triangular shape. And then as you go around there, it's almost like laying bricks. You're going to kind of tuck your petals in between. Some of them will be a little bit larger than others. So that's the kind of the basic circular motion that you want to go with. You could also do more of a random, sort of just do like random circles and let that brush kind of drag on there and do that kind of a look. They don't all have to be exactly the same. some of the larger ones, I'm going to maybe press down a little bit harder and get a little bit larger petals happening. Make sure you're adding white using that background color, using this color that we had underneath. And you can kind of do medium, pick up a little bit more of that background color and go back in and kind of add a little bit of it in some places so it's not all that really super bright white too. That'll kind of help. So maybe do some of this sort of medium pink color first and then go back in with the lighter, brighter white for some of the upper brush strokes.
Okay, somebody wants to know how dry do you let your dark colors get before you add the light colors?
These were kind of a little bit still wet, so they were mostly dry though. If they're lifting off the canvas, they're too wet, so they have to be, 90% dry, probably. Grab a little bit more of that Quinacridone Magenta, let's try a little bit of the light Ultramarine Blue. That'll give it kind of that soft purpley color. Add a little bit of that. A little bit more white. Purpley blue. There we go. Okay. We'll let that sit. I might go back in and mess with that a little bit more, but I'm not 100% happy with the center on that one. Grab some Quinacridone Magenta and some of the, let me get a smaller brush for this. I'm going to go ahead and switch to my number 2 round and grab that kind of purpley, like, not purpley, watermelon kind of color that we made, that salmon, quinacridone and yellow oxide and some white. This time add a little bit more white so we get a nice bright color. I'm going to add a little bit more quinacridone so I have a little bit of both colors on there. There we go. I'm just going to tap in these kind of fuzzy cone-shaped flowers here. Just setting my brush down and kind of tapping motion. Now if I have a lot of paint on my brush, so the harder that I tap, the more paint is going to glob off onto the canvas there. This one is definitely more pink undertones. The other one was more of the purpley blue colors, and then this one has got the really pink, strong pink leaning pink is our dominant color. A little bit more Quinacridone Magenta there. There we go. Okay, pretty. It's amazing how just little dots will make it all of a sudden start looking like flowers, isn't it? It's almost like magic. I don't know. It's just pretty cool. Pretty cool. Okay, so let's get that. Might have to mix a little bit more purple and Quinacridone. So that's that violet color that we did for these ones. Add some white. Get a nice light violet color going on. And I want a little bit of that other color in there, so they're both on my brush here, and I'm going to just kind of lay in, get a little bit more. There we go. These are going on kind of similar to the white flowers. Kind of these large or small clusters of blooms. Okay. Put a couple up here. And I'm going to grab some Quinacridone Magenta and some of this yellow, Indian yellow, make a bright orangey color. We'll do those for the centers, and we'll go back in with some yellow. Add some more yellow. And we're not going to see centers on all of these, so we'll just do a few.
Are you going to use that blue sitting there?
Which blue?
The one that hasn't been touched yet.
This one? The ultramarine?
The light sky blue looking one.
This one? Oh, the teal?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll use the teal.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to make you push it back inside the tube.
I'm going to use ultramarine blue and purple right now for the centers of these white flowers. You're silly. I have tried to do that. It doesn't work. So it's better to just save your palette and try to do that for a background color or something. Put a little bit of these little center dots for some of these white flowers here. Just try to pick a spot that seems like it could be the center of something. There we go.
I mean, there's no pressure to use that blue, you know.
Oh, well.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When are we going to use it? Are we there yet?
I've got Phthalo Blue here. I have a little bit of ultramarine blue on my brush too. So I'm going to put in some dark up here by my top of my vase. Under my flowers there. Here, are you happy now?
Ah, finally. It was just, it
Teal?
felt so left out. I mean, I'll paint it special, so
Yes.
gotta put it in there. See?
Yep. Okay. Let's see. I'm doing little dots with this, and then I'm going to kind of do a few like random sort of brush strokes. Clean that out. Grab some white. I'll grab a little bit of our pink too. Just put a little bit of pink down in our vase because it'd probably be catching the light. Grab some green, dark green here. Let's grab some turquoise, make some turquoise. So green, dark green, a little bit of phthalo green and phthalo blue together. Make that dark turquoise, and we'll do a few like random what am I trying to say? Stems, thank you. And I did just thank myself, so you don't have to ask.
Okay.
That did happen.
Hey, you're much nicer talking to yourself than I am talking to myself. So mine is like, you stupid. That's more like my conversations.
I'm very polite with myself. We do our manner. Remember our manners. Going in with a little bit of white mixed in with some green here and just kind of doing some highlights in my base up the top slightly. Let's start laying in some of our leaves. So I'm going to grab some of that purple and ultramarine blue, maybe a little bit of Quinacridone Magenta. I think we had a little bit of Phthalo Blue in it actually, that original really dark purple color that we wanted. Yeah, that's good. And let's put back in some of our leaves here that we lost. So I'm going to put in some really nice dark leaves here and there. Just trying to find little spots where they could fit. And if you've got some areas that are looking a little bit dull, just add a little bit of this color to pump up that contrast. There we go. Grab some of the light ultramarine blue. Throw some of that on there. A little highlight on these. A little bit of white with this color here. Put a few more little bright highlights around these flowers here. Define them a little bit better. Okay. Grab the cadmium yellow medium color. We'll add a little bit of this center color that had the Quinacridone Magenta in it. Maybe a tiny bit of white. Just to soften the whole thing up. We'll put in dabs of that. go. And we can add just little dots of it here and there. Maybe just kind of trailing off just a little bit of yellow in a couple other places. A little bit goes a long way. Maybe a teeny tiny bit in the center of our flowers. Okay, so we've kind of lost all our green, so we're going to grab some of the light green permanent. I'm going to put in really large leaves in a couple of places. I'm going to grab some white, mix that with the Phthalo Green, use that with this color. Throw in some leaves. Put some small leaves here and there too. We are getting a lot of flowers in this little vase. It is packed.
You're going a little crazy there.
I am. I think I went a little bit big on my flowers for this small vase, but that's all right. That's all right. Our other one was pretty full too. It was packed pretty full, so they'll look good side by side.
So do we have any
White
reference
here.
for a light source?
No, not
Angle?
in this one. I'm not really.
Not really.
This is kind of more of my light side, and this is more of our dark side, but I haven't really been, not on this one. I haven't really been worried about that too much.
So Darth Vader's more on the left.
Right.
Luke Skywalker's more on the right.
Exactly.
Okay.
Was that just your question, or did somebody else ask it?
No, somebody asked it,
Oh,
but
okay.
I was, just helping to clarify for everybody.
Got it.
That's what I'm here for, to try to put into non-art terms.
Got white here. Okay. Thank you, hon.
You're welcome.
I could, let me grab some of the light blue, light ultramarine blue and mix that with my white. And then for these white flowers, if I want them to look more in the shadow, I can use that blue over them, and they'll kind of automatically make them look more shadowed on this side. And maybe do a few of them that way anyways. Because some of these little ones that are tucked back in here might have a little shadow on them. Grab some Quinacridone Magenta, a little bit of the purple. Grab this color that had the yellow in it. And mix kind of a dark purpley color. And I'm going to add some of that to the bottom of our roses to give them some shadow. man over there?
Spell check got me again. We had somebody who has joined us from Hawaii.
Cool.
And so they started off their conversation with aloha. So I typed in aloha and just kept on going. And then I scanned back through chat and saw that autocorrect corrected it to alcohol.
A little random.
Yeah,
but...
and people in chat were like, huh? Kind of just screaming out words now.
Are you ready for some alcohol? Are you just saying that this is going a little too long now?
It's kind of a paint party atmosphere in here. Let me go get a box of wine. Be right back.
Okay. I'm grabbing this light color here, and I'm going to go back in and add a little bit of light highlights around my flowers. This was just kind of whatever was left on my palette here that looked in the same color family. So I'm adding a little bit of white to it. Okay. We're almost there. We need a little bit more. We'll do some light blue. So we're going to do phthalo blue and white. If I can get some white. We'll even grab some of that cobalt blue too. Have them both all kind of on my brush and just dab in our little bright blue highlights that are here and there. So let's do some up here. Do some over the top of this white here. We are just solidly, I'm trying to do as many flowers as in the same size as I did on my example one, which is like 3 inches smaller, bigger. So these are like way big. That's all right. That's all right. Might just go a little bit smaller on yours. Give yourself a little breathing room, but I'm going to get some white here. I'm going to put some white highlights on my teal. Just added white to my teal there. Put some highlights on my little teal berries or whatever these are. We're right at an hour, aren't we?
58 minutes.
Okay.
And Stickman wants that light blue color today. Got to sigh. Yes.
Got some phthalo green and white here. Need some more white. Don't get green in your white. Not be good. So let's grab some of this cad yellow light. Create a little bit more of a vivid green. I want it nice and bright though. We're just gonna go right over the top. Yeah, we have no room for any of this. We're just gonna lay it on over the top. Hope for the best. It's going, whether we'll have room for it or not. let's see, this one, I don't know where it's going to have to go, like right here. There we go. We squeeze it in there. We use this color to kind of outline some of my my leaves. I can go back in and add a little bit of that darker green to some of these if I need them to show up. Grab a little bit of that dark purple and just add some centers back in this flower right here that we've covered up. Do one right here too. Okay. There's some little bit of green stems that go to these blue berries, so do some light fine lines to these berries.
I like blueberries.
Yeah.
They're good in pancakes.
They are. You make good pancakes.
Oh, thank you.
Reminds me of when our boys, Mark's the breakfast cook in our house, and our boys called us one time when we were on vacation. They had made bacon, and they got me on the phone, and they asked for Mark because they had a breakfast question. They wanted to know how to do something with the bacon, and I'm like, I have cooked bacon before, just because you haven't seen me cook it. Because your dad's always the one making breakfast. I do know how to make bacon. Oh, it was so funny. Like, is Dad there? Like, yeah, well, he's not right with me. What do you need? Well, I just need to know how to get the bacon grease out of the pan. Like, honey, I know how to do that. So funny. Oh my goodness, our boys. Okay, a little bit dark phthalo blue here. I'm just gonna darken up this side of the vase. Oh, I didn't do centers in these purple ones here. Here we go. I feel like I'm missing something. Let me look at my original here. Get those. My flowers are a little bit darker than my original. My original flowers were a little bit more of a pastel pink, so you can go a little bit lighter if you want to on yours. But I kind of like the darker.
Oh, sure. Tell them now that they're done painting.
I know. Well, they go together pretty well, I think.
I'll zoom out. Hold on.
So yeah, that's the two side by side there. I could definitely see a third one that had more like oranges in it. So we wanted to do something like that maybe. The vase needs some little highlights in it. Grab some white there. Do a couple little white. Oh, too much water in my brush. Use a little bit of white and just kind of highlight around some of these if you wanted to brighten them up a little bit, but don't do too much because they're much more of a I was trying to make them look like peach colored roses, so they got a little bit more pink than peach, but that's okay. Notice in the center, that one's looking weird. There we go. Go around these roses one more time and just add some brush strokes over the top so that they are the boss of all the rest of the ones around them. They're prominent. So just a few brush strokes that kind of define them, the outside edge of these. Go outside over the top of the leaves and things like that to kind of really expand them out and dominate that space a little bit more. Some of them got it covered up a little bit too much. There we go. And some of the leaves can go over the top, but I definitely want them to be a little bit more prominent there. And then I'm going to grab some of the dark teal color. It's Teal Blue and Phthalo Green, or Phthalo Blue and Phthalo Green. I do have white in my brush. And I'm going to darken up around here a little bit. Put in a couple leaves. Right there. Maybe a couple more places. I feel like there's a lot of white in some of these places. Just break up that light on light with some of these darker leaves. Okay. Tuck a little bit of this color in here and there. Yeah, like this area right here needs some dark right back in here. Just grab that dark pink and add some of that. Okay, I'm good. I think we'll call it good. We could make small changes to these and kind of adjust colors, but
3 hours later.
It's fine. Okay, I'm gonna grab some light ultramarine blue, add a little bit of light ultramarine blue, just a little bit of it, and the bottom of these flowers here.
So if you're new to Angela's channel, done has a whole other meaning than what you think it means. It's being redefined here on her YouTube channel.
Yeah, it just means that we're almost there. That means...
Done means we're going to add more details for about 10, 15 more minutes.
Yes, that's probably accurate. A little bit of green here. Okay. You're so mean to me. Cobalt blue, a little bit of white. Kind of add a little bit of that color in. Okay, I think I'm happy with it. Cute. Yeah. definitely would have maybe maybe made the flowers a little bit smaller, but what?
Pull it down a little bit, down, zoom in.
Okay.
So we can get really good.
There we go. A little bit out. There we go. Okay, I'm going to sign it with my pen here. It's a waterproof light fast pen, Pigma, or Pit pen, Faber-Castell Pit pen. One of those works really well for these kind of things. I've got the link down in the description to the Pit pens if you want to find them. So, all right. Oh,
people are asking for them in chat. It's not my fault, okay?
All right, all right.
They want to see the star of the show. Don't be so...
Stickman is our mascot. If you're new to my channel, I'm sorry I haven't welcomed you. Welcome, please. Hopefully we'll subscribe and come back. And we do these shows twice a week, and we're all about trying to teach you to paint with acrylics in a fun, relaxed atmosphere, encouraging and letting you know, hopefully encouraging you and inspiring you to go ahead and try painting if you've never tried it before. That it's a skill like any other skill, and it just takes a little bit of practice. If you don't know how to draw, that's okay. You can still paint. So, all right. We added a little bit of detail there to the Stickman. Stickman is pretty much full. I don't know. We're going to have to do Stickman 4
I'm going to
now.
have to draw a new one up at the Crystal Bridges.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching today. We appreciate you as always. Please give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe. Let me know if you want to see number 3 of this one down in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And if you do this, please share it with the link to the video. Just copy and paste that link into your share. Tag me on my social media so I can see it too, and let other people know about the videos. That would help us out quite a bit. So thanks so much, and we will see you next time. Bye.